out in the Middle East.
Breaking news. Breaking news. Warning news.
Global uncertainty is rising. Markets are volatile. Headlines are screaming crisis. And everyone is asking the same question. Should you buy or sell a house right now? I analyzed historical data from every major global crisis over the past 30 years, and what I found will completely change how you think about this decision. Because the answer is not what the headlines are telling you. If you want the truth backed by data, not fear, hit subscribe right now. Let me show you what actually happens to housing during global uncertainty. Let me start with what is happening right now. Global tensions are escalating. You see it in the headlines every single day. Markets are reacting with volatility. Oil prices are fluctuating. Consumer confidence is dropping. And everyone is wondering what this means for the biggest investment most people will ever make, their home. But here's what nobody's talking about. We have been through this before, multiple times. And every single time the housing market did something most people did not expect. Let me show you the data. Illinois residents, drop your city below right now. What did your last property tax bill look like? I want the real numbers from real people on the ground. Gulf War, 1990 to 1991. Iraq invaded Kuwait. Global crisis. Oil prices spiked. Markets panicked. Everyone expected housing to crash. What actually happened? Home prices continued rising throughout the entire conflict. Mortgage rates actually fell during this period. Sales had a slight dip, but recovered within months. Why? Because geopolitical uncertainty does not directly crash housing markets. What it does is create economic uncertainty, and that economic uncertainty affects three specific variables: interest rates, consumer confidence, and inflation. Those three factors then affect housing, not the conflict itself. September 11, 2001. The most shocking attack on American soil in history. Markets closed for days. Uncertainty was at an all-time high. Consumer confidence collapsed. Everyone thought housing would crash. What actually happened? Home prices rose 15% over the next 2 years. Mortgage rates hit historic lows. Sales actually accelerated. Why? Because the Federal Reserve responded by cutting interest rates aggressively. Lower rates meant lower monthly payments. Lower payments meant more buyers could afford homes. And real estate became seen as a safe, stable asset during uncertain times. The pattern is clear. Geopolitical crisis does not equal housing crash, unless the crisis creates specific economic conditions. Mass unemployment, oversupply, foreclosure waves. We did not have those in 1990. We did not have those in 2001. And we did not have those in 2001. Ukraine. February 2022, Russia invaded. Energy crisis began. Inflation accelerated. Stock markets dropped. Everyone said housing would crash. What actually happened? Home prices stayed relatively stable through 2022. They cooled from the insane pandemic spike, but they did not crash. Sales slowed, but no mass panic. Why? Because the fundamentals were different than 2008. Inventory was still low. Homeowners had massive equity. No foreclosure wave existed. Employment remained strong. The economic structure underneath housing was solid. That is the key lesson. Housing crashes require specific economic breakdowns, not just headlines about global tensions. If this is making sense, hit that like button right now. It helps more people see this before they make expensive decisions based on fear instead of data. So, what does current global uncertainty mean for housing in 2026? Here's what we are seeing right now. Mortgage rates started the year around 6.25%. They briefly touched 5.99%, currently hovering near 6.1%. That is a full percentage point lower than last year. 2 points down from 2 years ago. A 33% improvement in the rate environment. Consumer confidence is recovering, not collapsing. Mortgage purchase applications have been trending upward for 6 months straight. That is real buyer activity. Employment remains strong. Inventory is up 8.5%, but still 85% below 2008 crash levels. Homeowners are sitting on near record equity. Average homeowner has over $200,000 in equity. Foreclosures remain 40% below pre-pandemic levels. This is not a market on the verge of collapse. This is a market with caution baked in. Picture this. You've been waiting 2 years for housing to crash. You passed on homes in 2023 hoping prices would fall. You waited through 2024 expecting rates to drop to 3%. Now it is 2.26. Rates dropped from 7.5% to 6%. Your buying power actually improved, but you are still waiting because headlines say uncertainty. Meanwhile, someone else bought that same house 2 years ago. They are sitting on equity, building wealth. You are still renting, still waiting for a crash that economic fundamentals do not support. So what should you actually do right now? If you are thinking about buying, here is what matters. Watch interest rates, not headlines. If rates drop to 5.75% or lower, expect competition to surge. More buyers jumping in. Prices stabilizing or rising. Your window closing. Check your personal financial stability. Is your job secure? Do you have 6 months emergency fund? Can you handle rate volatility? If yes to all three, then global uncertainty should not stop you from buying a home you plan to keep for 5+ years. Real estate is a long-term play. Short-term headlines do not change long-term fundamentals. One home buyer posted on Reddit last week, waited 18 months for the crash everyone predicted. Rates dropped. My buying power increased. Bought a house finally. Wish I had done this a year ago. All that waiting cost me equity and appreciation. Do not let fear of headlines cost you opportunity. If you are thinking about selling, here is the reality. This is not a panic market. Buyers are active but cautious. Price your home realistically from day one. Look at the last 30 days of sold comps. Price 2% to 3% below the highest comp. That is how you attract serious buyers quickly. Do not try to price like it is 2021. Those days are gone, but do not panic and give your home away either. Inventory is still relatively low. Qualified buyers exist. They just have more choices than they did 3 years ago. Make your home the obvious choice. Stage it properly. Price it right. Market it aggressively. You will find a buyer. One seller posted, listed at realistic price based on recent sales. Had 3 offers in 10 days. Sold for asking price. My neighbor listed 40K or higher hoping. Still sitting after 60 days with 2 price cuts. Price right from the start. Half. If you are waiting for a major crash, here is what you need to understand. The economic conditions for a 2008 style crash do not exist. Inventory is not flooding the market. Foreclosures are not spiking. Homeowners have massive equity cushions. Employment is stable. What is more likely to happen? Continued gradual normalization. Rates slowly improving. Inventory slowly increasing. Prices staying relatively flat with regional variation. That is not a crash. That is a healthy, balanced market. If you keep waiting for 30% price drops, you might be waiting forever. And while you wait, rates could drop, triggering more competition, pushing prices up, not down. The best time to buy is when you are financially ready and you find a home that works for your life, not when headlines tell you to. California and New York residents, I need to hear from you directly. Are you thinking about leaving? Where are you going? Yes or no below. Best response gets featured in my next video. Global uncertainty is real. I am not dismissing it. But housing crashes require specific economic breakdowns that we simply do not have right now. History shows us that geopolitical tension alone does not crash housing markets. What crashes housing markets is mass unemployment, oversupply, and foreclosure waves. We do not have those. We have caution. We have volatility. We have uncertainty. But we do not have the fundamentals for a crash. So make your housing decisions based on your personal financial situation, not on headlines, not on fear, on facts. Now I want to hear from you. Are you buying, selling, or waiting? What is your plan during this uncertainty? Drop your situation in the comments below. I read every single one, And if this video gave you clarity during uncertain times, hit subscribe and like right now. Because next week I am breaking down the 5 housing markets that are actually growing in 2026 despite global uncertainty. You do not want to miss that. Global uncertainty is here, but so is opportunity for those who understand the data. See you in the next one.